Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming in today. I'd like to begin, if you don't mind, with a moment of silence in recognition of William H. Mallory Sr. We're certainly grateful for his leadership, his example, and his continued encouragement and mentorship of this body. He will certainly be missed. Our prayers are with his family. We pray that his soul will rest in peace. Thank you. We are here today to talk about Ohio's economy falling behind and how that is affecting and impacting a struggling middle class. Terrible job growth, rising unemployment, and stagnant wages should be a wake-up call to Governor Kasich and his economic advisors. Ohio's economy is falling behind, and middle-class Ohioans are frustrated with an economy that isn't working for them. We've sacrificed transparency and accountability in the name of job creation, and yet we are 44th in the nation for job creation. Some have welcomed secrecy and lax rules with Jobs Ohio in the name of economic development. And now we are trailing the nation in job growth. The nation's economic recovery is trending upward, but today more Ohioans are filing for unemployment. We're 6th in new unemployment claims and 7th in poverty. This clearly is not the Ohio miracle that Governor Kasich promised. Instead of blaming others and ignoring the problem Ohio is facing, Governor Kasich needs an economic reality check. We tried trickle-down economics under President Bush. It didn't work then. It's not working now. We can't shift the tax burden onto working and middle-class Ohioans to pay for tax cuts for the wealthiest Ohioans and expect that this will somehow create jobs. The richest Ohioans are doing just fine. We need to focus on working-class Ohioans who are in need of jobs and opportunity. We need to take a step back and reevaluate what has been done in this state over the last 2.5 years. Job creation efforts need to recognize the real-life problems that face the driving force of our economy, the middle class, not just the rich and powerful. We need to start putting middle-class families first to get our economy back on track. Now we'll have some comments from Representative Phillips.
Thank you, Leader Heard. Our economic recovery has come to a grinding halt since Governor Kasich's top-down economic approach has taken effect. Governor Kasich inherited an economy that was beginning to recover from a global economic recession, and he has squandered it with cuts to schools, cuts to communities, and tax breaks for millionaires. Ohio had experienced 10 straight months of declining unemployment before Governor Kasich took office. But with deep cuts to schools and communities, combined with a massive tax shift that favors those at the very top, Governor Kasich's policies have caused Ohio's economic recovery to deteriorate. An ever-growing number of communities has been forced to ask local taxpayers to bear greater responsibility for preserving the essential functions of a strong society, like police and fire protection. And now we're seeing the economic results of policies that prioritize the wealthy and leave middle-class families behind. We're seeing the results of an economy that works for the rich, but forces working and middle-class Ohioans to spend more of their hard-earned pay on buying goods and services, paying for public education, and paying for essential services. Ohio is now one of the 4 worst-performing states economically, according to the Fed's December report, and the state has trailed the national job growth rate over the last 12 months. 0.5% compared to 1.7% nationally. Our state can't afford to pursue the same failed policies of investing in the wealthiest among us to create jobs. This is a failed policy. 427,000 unemployed Ohioans expect common sense solutions to help them get back to work. I'm going to now turn it over to Representative Ashford.
Thank you. As the nation's unemployment rate drops to the lowest level in 5 years, it creates the need for serious answers from a governor who once branded this recovery his Ohio miracle. Governor Kasich's office has had few answers to explain why Ohio's economy has fallen so far behind, except to blame others for the national recession that began when the Lehman Brothers collapsed in the fall of 2008. Ohio and other states across the country experienced massive job loss following this collapse. But by March of 2010, Ohio's unemployment rate slowly began to drop, marking the beginning of Ohio's economy recovery. But once the policies of Governor Kasich started taking effect, the economic recovery he inherited started to stall. And as the rest of the nation is on the road to recovery, more and more Ohioans are out of luck, or out of work. The governor's self-audit of Jobs Ohio has failed to prevent layoffs like companies like Orman, Lockheed Martin, Chase, Bank of America, Volvo, and Myers, among others. Over the last 12 months, we witnessed a troubling trend. Ohio's job growth has trailed the national rate. Welfare numbers are up. Over 427,000 people are looking for work in the state of Ohio. So we know for most people in the state of Ohio, the so-called miracle is more like a nightmare. Middle-class families are hurt while the state has pursued policies that favor millionaires. We have been living under Governor Kasich's trickle-down policies for close to 3 years now, and the middle class has yet to see any of the promised results. There is no miracle or model to follow in Ohio, only joblessness. I would like to call Representative Driehaus.
Thank you for being here. I too want to acknowledge the passing of Bill Mallory. I'm a state representative from Cincinnati. I knew Bill Mallory well, and he was a great man and a great legislator and will be sorely missed statewide, but especially in Southwest Ohio. And I honestly can think of nothing that would serve him better and to serve that legacy better than standing here talking about the middle class and the priorities of this legislature and how the governor has taken us off course, had us prioritize the most wealthy in the state, and simply left the middle class behind, because Bill Mallory stood for the middle class. And so I can think of no better way to honor his memory than stand here with my colleagues today at this press conference. If we are going to get Ohio's economy back on track, we need fair policies that don't squeeze working and middle-class families and local property taxpayers. Instead of policies that favor the most wealthy in Ohio, we must grow our economy by putting working and middle-class families first. We have three priorities. We need to invest in the middle class, prioritize our schools and our communities, and restore accountability in state government. We will continue to push legislation that supports these goals. I'm going to give you an example for each one. Investing in the middle class means hiring Ohioans first. We need to make sure that our citizens, if there are jobs created, are the ones filling those jobs. We have the bill to do that. We need to prioritize our schools and communities. We have House Bill 374, which talks about using the Medicaid savings and pushing that money back to where it belongs, which is the investment we should be making in our schools. The third, about restoring accountability in state government, was addressed in House Bill 189 with the Jobs of Ohio Accountability Act. This bill was offered by a number of us a number of months ago that simply calls on Jobs Ohio to be more accountable, be more transparent, so the taxpayers can see where their dollars are going. Instead of going home this week, we need to work on solutions to invest in the middle class, prioritize our schools and communities, and restore accountability in state government. I want to emphasize, too, that many of the solutions that are being brought forward have bipartisan support. It's not as if no one on the other side of the aisle recognizes these investments and the importance of the investments. We have a bill that was sponsored by Ron Gruberry and Terry Boos that also talks about the Medicaid savings and how to spend those savings. And there are a myriad of ideas of how to do that. Their bill talks about having that money go to local governments. Remember, we cut the local government fund dramatically in the last General Assembly, and this pushes that money back to where it counts, which is firefighters and police officers. I want to give you one stat. Policy Matters issued a report back in October, and it talked about what we could do with the $400 million in Medicaid savings. Do you know that we could hire 1,000 police officers and 675 firefighters in their communities for that amount of money? We could hire 1,570 teachers across Ohio with that amount of money. So this is just a matter of priorities. And we say We need to prioritize the middle class and invest where it matters instead of investing in the wealthiest among us who need it the least.